Hey, what's up, guys? So today I want to talk a little bit more about kind of the future of what Hasbro is doing with their Beyblade X line. So I was in the Beyblade X app, Wave 3 just got added. People are finding Drawn Buster and what is it, Wand Wizard? That sounds terrible. They've got to come up with better names. Like get someone who, I don't know, think like a criminal, right? Like, what is the worst way we can make this name sound? And we're gonna name it that. So I want to talk a little bit about Hasbro Blades. I got on the app to put in the Drawn Buster and Wand Wizard, or Buster Drawn and Wand Wizard, right? I got in there to add those, and I saw that there were other blades that just haven't been released yet. I've looked online and nobody has these QR codes, which leads me to believe that the blades have not come out yet. We know about them, they're in the app, but they haven't come out yet. And that would be another Wyvern Gale, which there's one already in the app, another Arrow Wizard, which there's one already in the app, but it's not a color variation, it's just a different blade because it's saying it's part of a different collection, and Cowl Sphinx, which we all know is Sphinx Cowl, which is my favorite blade. So I am extremely excited to see that Sphinx Cowl is making its way into the Beyblade X app, but it also leads me to think other things, right? If we look at big picture, other than, oh, the app sucks and I hate it. That's also just a note on the app. This screenshot here is now showing on the app, and that is basically saying if you rage quit, you lose. And that was a problem that a lot of people had in the beginning, was if you started to run up on somebody, or if they thought they were getting done up, they would just rage quit and it didn't count. Like, you would actually get the loss because it would count as an error, right? So whoever is in charge of the app and going through and making sure that things are running the right way, thank you for going through and clearing up that error. I guess enough people commented or enough people complained about rage quit, and it was taken care of. The app is running really smooth. I've been able to get a lot of games on my phone to go through with Buster Drawn and really put together some good combos and really have a good time in the app. If it's not your thing, I get that. It doesn't have to be your thing. But if you gave it a try and it was too buggy or terrible at first, look at really any game coming out now. They all come out in like this weird launch phase where they're not really ready to come out. They just push them out and then they patch it later. We're in that later stage now with the Beyblade X app. So if you downloaded it, if your app store shows that you had already downloaded it and you really wanted to try it, I would say maybe go back now, get your blades out, get the QR codes or find the QR codes, whatever, and give it another shot, right? And get back in there and give it another shot, and play around with it, right? They have a lot of different blades, but that's what I want to lead into now. We can look at the Beyblade X app as kind of that precursor map to what's coming down the pipeline. So we have Wyvern Gale, a new Arrow Wizard, and Cowl Sphinx coming out as part of what they call an ABC collection, and it's 3 blades. It's not, Wave 3, all BX blades, whatever, and it's also not a double pack, right? It's not labeled in there as a double pack. There are 3 blades, which leads me to believe, unless somebody has seen this in store as a single drop down, this could be our first triple pack, like a quote unquote team pack, right? Japan's been getting them through Takara Tomy, where you have a full deck, right? This might be our full Hasbro deck set. I don't really know if I like the 3 blades chosen. They're all very similar. Obviously I like Sphinx Cowl, but I mean, it would have been really cool to get that full team put together, or maybe, I know it sounds terrible, but like a team persona as your first 3 to launch, but it's just a combination of things to come, right? Sphinx Cowl came out, oh gosh, a while ago in Japan, and it's just now coming out here, but we're seeing a lot of UX blades get released way sooner in the US than they were in Japan. So really what this is leading me to believe is that they're trying to launch as many as they can. It feels like we just had Wave 2, right? People just saw Wave 2. I mean, at my local store, I still can't find Wave 2. I can find some Marvel blades, I can find some Star Wars blades, but I can't find a lot of legitimate, like I haven't found any Bear or Tyranno, right? Like I can get them on Amazon, but half the fun is searching. So I can't find those at my local store, but Wave 3 has already made the push. So we're seeing the releases get closer and closer together and more blades pumped into the populace. All of this to say, it's lining up a lot with the GameStop tournaments, right? A lot of things are gearing up for the, gearing up for the end of 2024 for us to have a wide selection of Hasbro specific blades to carry into 2025. I really feel like if Hasbro is going to make a push for any tournament play or any kind of support that way, I really feel like 2025 is when they're going to start doing it. I don't want to speak out of turn, but a Q1 regionals or a Q1 tournament series is not out of reach. We have a wide selection of blades at this point, a wide selection of bits and ratchets. We may not be caught up to Japan as far as the meta goes, but with things like Phoenix Wing coming out in the first wave, with Drum Buster and Wand Wizard coming out as Wave 3, and then in Wave 2 getting things like Bite Croc and Yell Kong and stuff like that. We've got a wide variety now of blades. I'm not sure exactly how many we have, but it's more than Wave 1. So we have a lot to look at. The blades aren't of bad quality that are coming through Hasbro. We're getting a lot of one-offs, and those are the ones that I am purchasing. I am specifically going after blades that did not come out in Japan or have not come out in Japan yet, because now we're seeing Savage Bear released in Japan. We're seeing Shinobi Knife come out with Beyblade X Zone. We're seeing a lot of American blades get moved over to Japan because they're a retooling rather than a recoloring. So a lot of the retoolings I'm making sure I pick up. And if I already have the Japanese one, so I will probably buy the Hasbro Sphinx Cowl or the Cowl Sphinx, whatever you want to call it, just because it's the one I have to have. But other than that, I mean, we're getting a lot pushed in, and that is going to be a very drastic change when we start to look at 2025 and what the tournaments could look like at that point. Again, November 8th through the 11th, at your local GameStop, they are going, look it up online. I'll put the website down below. Plug in your zip code or your area code or zip code, whatever. Zip code. I always get those confused. Zip code. Put your zip code into the website and it'll tell you what GameStops are running events near you. Be sure to go in. I don't think these are official. Nazuma and I were talking about it. We don't think it's an official thing, but we definitely think it's a gauge. So get in there, even if you have to use their blades, get in there. I saw a lot of people saying, oh, this is a terrible format. This is terrible. That's terrible. Hasbro's terrible. This, that, whatever. Yeah, whatever, man. I don't care. Like, this is a gauge. Get in there, have a good time. Win, don't win, doesn't matter, whatever. Get in there. It's a gauge. Hasbro is looking to see how many people show up to these things, and if they need or even want to provide support for a tournament series. If you want a tournament series in your area, now I'm speaking specifically to the US because of GameStop, and I don't know what the GameStop equivalent is in other countries. There are some. See if Hasbro has teamed up with those for you, but Hasbro is doing a gauge, right? They are looking how many GameStops fill up. And the GameStops that fill up may or may not get tournament support, but if everybody ends up with 4 players per tournament, there's going to be no tournament support because there's no demand for it. Even though we all know the demand is there. We're here. We're here. But if we choose to put our noses up and not go to GameStop because it's a gauge and it's not official and the WBO runs better tournaments, whatever, there's going to be no support for us. So we can't complain that Hasbro isn't listening to the customer base when they're giving us a feeler gauge. They may not put it out as such, but how many of these have we had? We had the Beyblade X tour, right? Where they drove around in the van, they came through Atlanta, and I fell victim to not going to it because I heard it was terrible. Looking back, maybe I should have gone. Even if just my son played, at least it's a gauge, right? Now they're saying, hey, instead of just going to select cities, let's run it at every GameStop. Every GameStop has an arena. Every GameStop gets a selection of blades. Go there and play. Okay, do that because that's a gauge if you want your local GameStop to run these things. Personally, I would rather it not be in GameStop, and I don't think that it will be because, as I mentioned in my other video, GameStop has very small space. It's not set for massive tournaments, but if they're running it through GameStop now, they can run it through the Wizards Play Network because they're all owned by Hasbro. They can get it to your local game store that is running weekly Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, any other game owned by Wizards of the Coast, which is set up to accommodate for tons of people every week. Like at your local Friday Night Magic, you'll have like 30 people show up. They are ready to accommodate that with tables, so you're not playing on the floor, right? If you're into Beyblade, but you're not into Magic the Gathering or anything like that, game shops have tables. You're not playing on the floor. They have space. You're not playing against like $50 Madden 2007, right? So let's look at this as a gauge. Let's get into this. Let's push GameStop forward. Let's push Hasbro forward. Let them know we're here. Let them know that we're supporting this. Let them know that both children and adults want to play this game. We want to get Gear Sports moving in the right direction. And if you sit back, you want to send a comment on here and say, oh, well, Hasbro sucks. That's fine. That's fine. But please don't complain. Please don't complain when Hasbro stops carrying Beyblade altogether, or because already there was a huge debacle whether they should grab X or not because Burst was so bad. They went back, they brought basically the same blades from Japan to America to give us decent quality. Please don't complain, right? So if you want to see tournaments other than the WBO, right? And anybody can say whatever they want about that. I'm not going to share my personal thoughts about any of that I'm sharing my personal thoughts on the GameStop one, but WBO, it's a great series, but just not my scene, right? We can't complain if we're not showing up when they're offering us something. They're giving us a handout and you're not taking it and you just want to complain about it. That's not what I want to see in the comments. So let me know in the comments down below, where do you see this going? When will Wave 4 drop, do you think? Cal Sphinx and the ABC collection are part of Wave 3. There are going to be other blades that come in Wave 3. This is just that first little initial push. What other blades are you thinking will show up towards the end of Wave 3 or even Wave 4? These things are coming at such a fast pace now. When are we going to get that? I think it'll be Q1. I think right now we're set for the holiday season. Let that push into stores. I think Q1 of 25 is when we're going to start getting Wave 4 and other stuff. What do you think is going to be in that? What do you want to see in that? I'm getting my blade. When do you want Hasbro to release yours? So let me know what your blades are and when you want to see them down below. Hey, if you guys have made it to the end of this video, I appreciate every single minute that you watch. I appreciate everything you do, and I hope that you have an absolutely amazing day.